everyone, Honeybird MC here, and today I want to show you one of my favorite games by one of my favorite players, Jose Raul Capablanca. If you don't know much about him, he was the third chess world champion after William Steinitz and Emmanuel Lasker. He was world champion between 1921 and 1927, I believe, and is a phenomenal positional player. He actually has like the highest average accuracy out of all the champions. So this guy, he even has a higher accuracy on average than even Magnus. Like this is crazy. And this is one of my favorite games that he played against Villegas Benito H. We just call him Benito. And it's really cool and hope you can learn a lot because he was a genius. But you can be too. And you will be after you finish this video. Alright, let's start. D4, D5, knight f3, knight f6, E3. So, a lot of you who play D4 are probably used to bishop f4, which would be the London system. But E3 is the Kali system, very similar to the London, except this time you try to fianchetto your dark squared bishop on B2. So that's a slight difference there. I'm not going to go over the opening too much, but basically just development. And now white castles, bishop e7, queen c2, and now bishop h5 move. So bishop a5 from Capablanca's opponent looks pretty interesting, but really all it's trying to do is just reroute this bishop to g6, where it will blunt this amazing battery white currently has on this b1 h7 diagonal. And even though it's not really too, this battery isn't too scary now, it could be a little scary in the future. So black is trying to just prevent any issues. Perfectly fine. B3, so we see that plan trying to fianchetto this dark squared bishop here. And bishop g6, bishop b2, and now the first move that I would consider kind of a mistake in the game is the bishop takes d3. Because in general, and this is going to be the first point that will help you massively improve your play, especially at lower levels, which is that if you can trade, it doesn't mean that you should. Because you see, after this trade that happens, now white's queen is more centralized. It defends c4, d4, and e4, the entire center. It's very nice. There's nothing that can really affect it. There could be some checkmating threats later on. You've only helped, as black, by trading, you've only helped white. But it's a minor inaccuracy, so it's fine. So takes castles, and now this move rook a to e1. And this brings me to the next point. You should know the ideas of your opening. It doesn't matter if you play positional or tactically. I don't care if you play Roy Lopez, Italian, London system, Queen's Gambit, doesn't matter. You have to know your plans. If you just play 7 good moves, and then on move 8, what do I do? Then you probably need to study more, because you don't need to memorize moves, you more need to memorize plans. So with that, what's the plan that White's trying to push here with this move with a to e1? If you said pawn to e4, you would be correct, trying to break open the center and give White the full center, which would be very nice for White. And queen c7, and that's actually exactly what happens, e4. And takes, and rook takes e4. A rook lift, which we'll see is pretty important. It's going to be pretty important later on. And this is a key idea as well, which is that if you can bring your rook up and over like this, you probably should, as long as it's safe to do, especially in closed positions like this. And now the next, and here's the thing as well with move e4 is that this is key pawn break that helps you advance your pieces. So now look at our white piece. White piece are active. There's some maybe checkmating ideas. Like, I know that move isn't possible, but still, just a general idea. Black's is mostly on the defensive. He's not really doing anything. So bishop f6, now trying to challenge his bishop on b2. And it's called an X-ray tactic. Queen e3, doubling up on the e file. Maybe putting, even though it looks weird, because staring at a brick on e6. But eventually, things will start to make some sense. c5, trying to attack white center. However, this is the, if queen e3 looked a little weird to you, it looked a little weird to me at first. But then after c5, you understand the idea. Because you don't take. Because you would lose your bishop. So you'll play knight e5. And now now this knight is on a perfect square on e5. It's attacking some nice squares on black's camp. And you really start to feel that something isn't really going too well for black. And black plays c takes d4. And now, this is why the title is called like Capablanca is a genius. Because now he plays the move knight takes d7, sacrificing the queen. It's a queen sacrifice. You can't take the queen though. Because if you take the queen, then I take your knight. I mean your bishop, excuse me. If your only real move is to recapture. I mean you could go king h8, but it's all gonna be the same thing. Takes, check, there, checkmate. How are you gonna escape? The answer is you can't. So what do? Your only move is to recapture the knight. And this is our next point, which is that even though this position was kind of quiet, positional, you should always watch out for key ideas and tactics. So this is an amazing tactic here, and most of us, including me, I'm gonna be honest, was insta capture on d4 as a bishop and not even think about it. But this is a way better move. It's a tactical move, and now the game is slightly starting to shift in the white's favor. Bishop takes, rook takes, and you can see the importance of the rook lift here. 5 moves ago, this rook was lifted up to the 4th rank, and now it's shifting over to open d file, where we'll just have d file domination for white, and black's pieces are not really doing too much. Queen c7, rook fd1, rook ad8, trying to challenge, but then b4. And this brings us to the next idea, which if you're an intermediate advanced player is very important. There's these things in chess called pawn majorities. So essentially what you're going to do is want to take a through d file, the queen side, and then e through h file, the king side, and now you're going to count. So, and whoever has more pawns on each side has a pawn majority on that side. So black has 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns on the king side, and white has 1, 2, 3 pawns on the king side. So who has the pawn majority? If you said black has the pawn majority on the king side, you'd be right. Because 4 on 3, and now white has 1, 2, 3 pawns on the queen side, and black has 1, 2 on the queen side. So who has the pawn majority? Yeah, white has the pawn majority. So when you go into endgames, you want to identify which side you have a pawn majority on, and you want to push those pawns on the pawn majority, because you're trying to create a pass pawn. Because think of pawn majorities as kind of a soccer game. If you have 3-on-2, right? I mean, when you're playing soccer, I mean, if it's a 3-on-2, the side of 3 players is probably gonna win. But if you have 2 really good players, maybe on the other team, maybe they could hold. But then if it's a 2-on-1, then yeah, 2-on-1 is definitely probably gonna outclass just a 2 players probably gonna outclass 1 player. And if you have just 1 on 0, well, obviously one pawn or one soccer player in this instance is just going to score infinite goals because no one's going to stop him. So if you have only if you have you want a situation where your opponent has no pawns and you only have like one left and you can just run. So that's why b4 is important. Pushing the pawns onto the side he has a majority, and it's gonna make moves like c5, c5 or b5 or a4 or a5, and try to 1 take space on the queen side, and 2, excuse me, create a pass pawn. So rook takes, queen takes, b6, g3. Look at this, beautiful. Capablanca doesn't rush. Capablanca didn't try to go for some like fancy tactic or like trying to push his pawns. He made a wolf to his king. And this is another thing. In chess, a lot of times it's better to do in 50 what you can do in 5. Because this is a perfect example of something called cat and mouse. Which is you're in a better position, you can push for an advantage, but instead of rushing and trying to get everything immediately, you just sit, you just savor your position. Just make slow improvements like g3, and eventually your opponent, you'll be in such a good position that you'll be able to break through much easily if you went for the instant kill. Rook c8, rook c1, rook d8, attacking the queen, queen e3, and now things don't look as pretty. Like before, white had like the 4D file and it looked really good. Now it's kind of looks a little shaky for white, but actually everything is perfectly fine. Black here plays king f8, just centralizing his king. I mean, it's not a bad move, but this move kind of ended up causing some problems for black, which we'll see soon. Because now white pushes c5, takes. Oh, haha, tricked you, huh? You thought it was gonna be takes, but no. And to come at, but Honeybird MC, wasn't the point to make a pass pawn? Yeah, the point was to make a pass pawn. But remember, doing 50 what you can do in 5, we need 4. What about this pawn? You can't take this pawn, you're pinned. You don't have to rush in chess. Like, it's just the brilliancy of Capablanca's playing style. He never rushed. Rook d5. Now, Capablanca takes. Now, note, you cannot, even though this pawn looks like a free pawn, it's not, because after takes, after rook takes, you do not take with the rook. After rook takes, you instead go queen b4. This is a pin, and black loses his rook. g6, trying to blunt this diagonal, but now things start to fall apart a little bit. c6. What's black gonna do about this pawn? And the answer is that there's not really much you can do about this pawn, because I'm just gonna go queen b4, queen b7, rotate over, and just push. And king g7, Benito, Capablanca's opponent, tries to stop that idea with the check. The check is really the important part, because you gain a tempo. But now a4, like, I'm just gonna gain some space on the queen side. I'm just gonna take my time, and what are you gonna do? And now, rook d6. And Capablanca's opponent was thought, well, I'm chilling here. I mean, Capablanca can't really do anything. His queen looks to be stuck here. I mean, I should be able to make a draw, right? Right? Can you see the tactic that wins for white on the spot? Queen e5. And black is lost. Because after king f8, queen d6. The second queen sacrifice in the game, and the game is over. Capablanca's opponent resigned. After queen takes, which like your own a good move. Well, it's not a good move. It's your own move. Then c7, and how do you sell the pawn? And you can't. You can sack your queen, but you're gonna be down to rook. You're gonna lose the game. And like that, Capablanca, genius, positional masterpiece. This is how you want to play chess. This is definitely how you want to play chess. Positional, calm, collected. A lot of times people love to talk about, like Paul Morphy and Mikhail Tal, and their crazy sacrifice and everything. But this is more impressive, and in my opinion, this is even more impressive than the aggressive King Slaughter. This is just making small improvements, just methodical, and with some fireworks in there too. So a few things you can take away from this game. One, know your opening plans, because see Capablanca employed his opening plans. The whole point of the system is to push e4. I got from 1500, I got from 1600, 1500-ish to 1700 just by knowing my opening plans. I kid you not. Once I started my opening plans, I skyrocketed in 1 week. And the next thing that I would want to take away from this is always look for tactical opportunities, even in quiet looking positions. Like a lot of us, when we think about knight d7, we're just gonna instantly capture. But we should always look at every possibility. Check every possibility. The next thing is, in endgames, use your pawn majorities and try to advance them in most cases. And the final thing is do in 50 what you can do in 5. If you have a slight advantage or you feel like you have an advantage, just massage the position. Squeeze as much juice as you can out of it. And then last thing, go win some games. I hope this inspired you to play some games. And now you have to subscribe because you're gonna gain 100 years after. Okay, just kidding. But please subscribe, please like. It really helps out the channel, and I'll make more videos about this. Tell me if you want more videos like this, more game reviews, or just whatever you want. And yeah.